Garnett, 5 minutes away. Okay, just, yeah.
Good evening. Welcome to the work session for City of Hiram. Reverend McGrady.
Mr. Mayor, Council, let's pray. Father, now in Jesus' name we come saying thank you. We bless you. We give you praise, glory, and honor. We thank you, God, for this day and this time. Father, we don't take this life, we don't take this breath, we don't take this wellness for granted, God, because we know there's so many of our family and friends who are suffering and going through right now, God. Father, we pray, God, that we would learn to appreciate everything you've done for us. Father, as always, I pray for these elected and appointed officials tonight that you would lead and guide them by your wisdom and knowledge. In Jesus' name I pray, with faith believing, amen. Amen. Right now we're going to have the students of Hiram Elementary come and do our Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry. My computer won't listen.
Unlock it. You want to unlock it right now?
Thank you very much. Ivy, can you come up this way? We have a proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month. Whereas children are the embodiment of innocence and hope for the future, every child deserves to grow up in a safe, nurturing environment, free from harm and fear. Sadly, child abuse is a reality, a problem we must relentlessly combat through awareness and action. And whereas every responsible person will agree that even one abused child is one too many, and that protecting our children is one of our highest priorities. It is vital that we all do our part to ensure that our youth are safe and given the opportunity to have happy childhoods. And whereas there are no excuses for child abuse or neglect, but there are many consequences, some which may last a lifetime. Therefore, it's critical that a children's advocacy group, community organizations, government resources, and others come together to form a network of support that can reach out to those in need. When abuse or neglect does occur, individual citizens have a duty to report it to the appropriate authorities. And whereas by raising awareness of this issue and standing up for the safety of our children, we can prevent child abuse and allow our young ones to look forward to bright futures. Now I, Frank Moran, the Mayor of the City of Hiram, Georgia, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month in the City of Hiram, and ask that all citizens of Hiram join with the Paulding Child Advocacy Center to fight child abuse and neglect.
Thank you, Ivy.
This young lady here is Ivy Capps, and she runs the programs, and she takes care of the children and the adults in Paulding County. Thanks, Ivy. Go ahead.
All right,
First of all, thank y'all, Mayor and Council, for having us here and always supporting us. And it means a lot to have community members to stand behind us, stand beside us, and partner with us. We really do appreciate that. Before I go into our my little fundraising stuff, we deal with a lot of stuff that come through our center, and so during the month of April, Child Abuse Prevention Month, we task all of the fourth graders in Paulding County to color a pinwheel coloring sheet and ask them to write a positive message on there for somebody that they may know or ever come across. What would they say to somebody that's having a hard day? So we, the Dallas Women's Club, some retired, not from Paulding County, educators got together, and they were our judges this year, and they have picked out a first, second, and third from every 19 schools. And this year, and Hiram has always allowed us to be able to award the winners of our pinwheel contest here at the City Council. So y'all are the only ones that get this even more special treatment, okay? So that's awesome. So I want to present our first, second, and third, and your principal is going to help us. So okay, I'm going to start off with third place, and it's Talala Briggs. Is she present? All right, and our second place is McKenna Shawins. And our first place is Faith Imarwa. They have waited all month for this. Y'all were the last ones to get your awards, but it's the best for the last, right?
All right, Barrett, give me just 1 minute if you want to come up behind me. I'll get out of your way so you can get photos. Give me just 1 second. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. So pinwheels. Pinwheels. There we go. Good job. All right, Barrett.
Okay, like I said before, I wanted to kind of go over some of our annual stats. It's kind of like what we have done for the year. We have seen 239 new children in Paulding County for the 2025, and we have done 167 trauma-focused therapy sessions, which are going up even more. They will be for this year because we have partnered with some other agencies, as well as hiring a part-time therapist. So that's a good. We want to see the therapy sessions go up because that means more are not having to wait for 30 days, 60 days to be able to get into some of the agencies. And they're working as hard as they can. That's no dish against anybody. Our volunteer hours is 1,872. And then our multidisciplinary team approach, which means we had 3 full-time staff last year. So that's every phone call, every appointment, every case review, everything that we do for that kid and their family. We had 50,363 services. So it's a lot of services. It's, you know, and we are growing. Paulding County is the second, sometimes the first fastest county growing in our state. Well, with that comes a strain on social services. It also brings the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So keep that in mind. If you're ever wanting to volunteer, or if you ever want to take a tour of our center, we welcome you. Just call before and I'll schedule it, because definitely don't want children or families there. They deserve their privacy. But another thing to think about, this is according to the 2025 National Children's Alliance member stats, is the cost of serving children has increased since 2020, just like everything else, right? And on average, the Child Advocacy Centers nationally now spend an estimated $2,579 to provide comprehensive services to each child that come through their doors. So what that means is their first appointments, any of the advocacy, any of the therapy, any of the medical, and we are working hopefully to get a medical here in our county so that our people will not have to go outside of a county for that certain specialized medical. I'm working on it. So what we're asking our communities to do is to be able to educate yourself. That's the most important thing, is educate yourself. And to be a part of some of the fun things that we do. We're at Hiram Christmas, we're at the Dallas Christmas, we do letters to Santa. We do a lot of fun things that, you know, because not everybody wants to hear about what's going on inside, and I understand that. But there are other ways to be able to support and to be able to just be aware of what's going on in our county. We have June 12th is a family-friendly bingo night. And it will be at the old Oasis Church, the now Cultural Arts Center. And the doors open at 5:30. And there are, tickets are $25, and that includes an early bird game, a regular game, jackpot game, a raffle ticket, and a dollar. So that's pretty good. And then Cops for Kids is also selling concessions at there as well. So if you choose to come and make that a date night, a friend night, a whatever night, then you're helping Hops for Kids, because they'll be selling the concessions and they'll be able to keep their money with them. And we love partnering with all of our community partners and being able to have some fun while we're also bringing awareness. Since our stats are for the amount of money is $25.79, our center is actually doing this for people that are more connected or that want to be more connected to our center, and it's a 12-month promise. We've had some already sign up for $20 a month for 12 months, or $40, $75, and $150. And what that means is it's a bigger commitment, but everybody has their, you know what, I'm really into saving the animals, I'm really into the children, I'm really into elderly, I'm really into whatever. So whatever that is awesome that you are a part of something and that you believe in something that's outside of our own space and our own homes. But if you're interested in that, please get with me, and I will be glad to hook you up with some of that. April is over, but we also do blue ribbon paint potting blue. So you've probably seen blue ribbons are over here. I've seen some. I forget the insurance now. It used to be Bird Insurance, but now it's not Bird. They've merged. But anyway, the old salon over here, they have blue ribbons, and they're royal blue. They're not baby blue, so nobody had a baby. You know, and what that does is that gets people to say, well, what's that blue for? It's not baby, it's not pink, it's royal blue. So it was a concept that started in the 1980s, and it was just to bring awareness. And a long time ago, we used to have antennas that would stick straight up on your cars. And we used to tie blue ribbons on, just little thin ribbon on that, just for awareness for the month of April. So now we don't have antennas like that anymore, or very few. So we do paint potting blue, and for a donation of $10, then you could do your blue ribbon out on your vehicle or whatever, your home or mailbox, for the month of April. So maybe next year. But anyway, I do appreciate Hiram allowing us to always come and do this and to be a part of this. And I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Principal Black, your show's on.
Take it on.
It's hard to believe this is our last recognition of the year. Time has gone by fast, but we are so excited and honored once again to be with our Hiram City Council and recognize our awesome Hiram Hornets that we have. We have some great students that follow our 3 B's: be safe, be responsible, and be respectful every single day and go above and beyond. And it is an honor to be able to say these kind words about them that are so true and be able to celebrate that with their families. So thank you all for being here, and thank you once again, Council, for allowing us the opportunity to do this. All right, we're going to start with kindergarten. This student is responsible, kind, and respectful to others in the classroom. They are a friend to their classmates and love coming to school each day ready to learn. Each day, this student comes in class with a positive attitude and a warm smile that makes her a joy to have. This is what makes her a great recipient of the Citizenship Award. At this time, I would like for Miss Soraya Martin to come to the podium. Our first grade Good Citizenship is being shown with kind, respect, and help to others, in the classroom. She listens to her teacher, follows school rules, and takes turn when playing with classmates. Camilla uses polite words like please and thank you and takes care of her school and supplies and shared spaces. By making positive choices every day, Camilla helps to create a happy and safe environment for everyone at Hiram Elementary. Congratulations to Miss Camilla Botero. That's her every day. In our bright and exciting second grade classroom, one student stood out not just for her schoolwork, but for her kindness she shows every day. Whether she is helping a classmate understand a lesson, sharing supplies without being asked, or including others during recess, she consistently makes her classroom a better place. Other teachers have reported that this student uses polite words, listening respectfully, and setting a positive example for everyone around her. Because of her thoughtful actions and caring spirit, she was proudly chosen to receive this citizenship recognition. Congratulations to Harley Spencer. The student that has been chosen to represent third grade for the Citizenship Award is a wonderful student who always works hard and keeps a positive attitude. She sets a wonderful example for her classmates by following the rules and treating everyone with kindness and respect. She has high standards for herself and does all she can to be the very best she can be at whatever she does. Congratulations to Miss Piper Baxter. Our fourth grade student sets apart for not only being a great student, but being a student council class representative. She consistently demonstrates responsibility and a strong commitment to serving her peers. She is a hardworking individual who puts effort into everything she does, both academically and within the school community. By consistently following the school rules and maintaining a positive attitude, she sets an excellent example for others. Avery Reed is a true role model. All right. Our final fifth grade recognition for this year before these babies go on to be middle school students. It is with great pride and sincere admiration that we nominate this student for recognition before the Hiram City Council. He is a young person who consistently exemplifies the very best qualities we hope to see in our students and in our future leaders. Each day, he approaches his learning with dedication, perseverance, and a genuine desire to do his very best. He does not seek recognition, yet his efforts naturally stand out. His commitment to excellence is evident not only in his academic work, but in the integrity and responsibility he demonstrates in all he does. What truly sets him apart, however, is his character. He is a student who leads with kindness, who gives without hesitation, and who supports others with sincerity and compassion. He is often the first to offer help, the one to encourage his peers when they struggle, and the steady presence who makes those around him feel valued and included. In a world that often celebrates achievement alone, this student reminds us that character, generosity, and heart matter just as much, if not more. He represents the values of respect, responsibility, and care for others that strengthen both our school and our community. It is students like him who give us confidence in the future. For his unwavering effort, his selfless spirit, and the positive impact he has on everyone around him, it's our honor to recognize Mr. Case Wary. We are so excited for our Hornets, and thank you to all our families that came out and our teachers that came out to celebrate them
Parents, if you want your chance, come on up, please. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that were here for just that, if you would like to go ahead, we'll open the doors for you to go ahead and leave, or you can stay and watch the rest of the meeting.
She said, this is my first one. She danced over there. So that was way too cute. Yeah. She said, this is my first one. That's right.
Harley, don't leave.
Should be here back to the ordinance.
Yeah.
Okay, we have two people that have signed up for participation on agenda items.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I think the first one is actually I could be wrong, but for number 5 in particular at the request of the city, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
So that will really just leave one. That's the second one. Ms. Escamillo, I believe it is, Escamillo, wanting to
What
speak
did you
on
want to
item
talk
7.
about tonight?
That what?
What did you want to talk about?
Oh, well, I was told that I had to present it to everybody first in order for it to get approved, which is the modification of ordinance.
Ma'am, you've got 3 minutes to take the podium, and you'll be speaking on item 7, which is the special events ordinance proposed amendments.
So I emailed over and texted over some, I wish we could put it up, but some information to change the ordinance on the events because it makes it difficult. In that work, I listed everything which is if I'm going to give you my example. If I'm already paying the $100 fee, I'm sorry. I'm used to talking over there instead of over here. Okay, so the ordinance says that I have to pay $100 plus submit tax information and business information, but that makes it hard for some vendors. I've gone, again, to different cities and sold my candles and never had an issue with being asked for that paperwork specifically. So what I was going to ask the council is if there could be a modification to where you guys can receive a $25 payment for a temporary vendor's permit instead, which will encourage people to come out, be vendors, sell their products, whatever they have going on. As far as food, though, I understand that food is a whole health issue, so they're required to go by the requirements that they have, which is presenting all the documents that they need to do their business. Because right now, with asking that information, it puts me in a bind to be able to open the doors to vendors. that's
Mariana,
all.
how long was, I'm sorry, the temporary permit, how long was that good for?
As whatever you guys decide, it can be just for the day. My recommendation is just for the time of the event.
Okay.
And then it expires. But this is for material vendors, it's not for food vendors. Food vendors still have to apply by whatever you guys have on the ordinance, health code, all of that stuff.
Okay.
Melissa.
Did you have some input on that, Melissa?
I think this time is her time, and then when we get to the item, we'll.
Well, do you guys have any, I'm sorry,
Right.
do you guys have any questions for me?
No.
I do. So June 5th, is it June 5th? Can you remind me of the date? And when would you need this approval by?
Before then, I have the whole month of May to promote, get vendors in, food trucks in, all that stuff. And so I would need a rapid response. If not possible, then it's just pushing back the event. And then it gives the city an opportunity to use that money. So let's say I bring 18 people, that's $25 to $50 each permit, whatever budget you guys decide for us to pay. Then that money can be used for events or to pay your officers to be there and want to volunteer so they make an extra 40, 60, 80, 100 bucks depending on what we make on vendors. And it's gonna take time. This will be the first event in a long time like this from what I understand. And I feel like this opens the door to a lot of opportunities and for Hiram to grow. Community come together, have fun, party, dance, you know.
I personally want to thank you, Mariana, for being such a dedicated and committed citizen and bringing community events, or at least putting this together single-handedly. So please, we'll discuss it, item number 7, and let me know how I can assist if we can move forward with it.
Yes, thank you
Just
guys.
have one last question, I'm sorry. Is
Yes,
this
it's
a
okay.
one-time event, or were you thinking of doing it?
If you allow me to continue doing them, I would love to do them. Again, I've been going to these events for the past 3 years, and so bringing it here, I feel like it's awesome. I know I heard a lot from some of the residents last time that they're excited for something like this too, because it's been some time since they've had fun here, and then having to drive to Dallas, gas, traffic, all that. I want to have fun here. It's Hiram.
Me too.
It's time to party.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, discuss Nebo Road geotechnical exploration and reporting. Michael.
Mayor, we've got item number 3 first, the Board of Ethics appointments and old business. Just kidding, Michael.
Sit back down, Mike.
This is an older item from a couple of work sessions where we need those appointments. You've got 3 different appointments. One is appointed by the council, and then there's one appointed by just the mayor, and then there's one appointed by the mayor and then authorized or voted on by the council. So I would need those 3 individuals.
I would like to nominate Miss Janice, who's in the audience.
Sorry, which,
Miss
Janice?
I'll second that.
What's the last name?
Yeah, Low.
No, we're not voting right
We're
now.
not voting.
Oh, you don't have to second it?
I'm not
No.
sure.
No. So Janice, I'm sorry, what's your last name?
Low. Yeah.
Okay, so that would be the one appointed by the council then. Does anyone have any objection to that, where you want someone else
Do you have
considered?
somebody? Why are you looking at me like that?
You still got 2 more. So you still got 2 more. The mayor has one, and then the mayor and council together have one.
Like you want to say
Got
something?
a Robert Steele. S-T-I-L-L-E.
Yes.
Yes, on the end.
STILL?
Yes.
S. And what was his first name again? I'm so sorry.
Robert.
Robert. Do you want that one to be the mayor council appointment together, and then the mayor, you have another one yourself? Okay.
Yep.
Then mayor, what's yours?
I haven't come up, I don't have the name right now.
Okay.
I'll get it for you.
Okay.
Question, is Kenny Caldwell still on the list?
Let me look at if he is eligible. He is on the board now, and he would be eligible for the next term.
All right,
has
let's do,
confirmed he wants to
let's do
renew.
Kenny.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Michael? For real this time.
Okay, so as we're trying to navigate solution for Nebo Road, the next part of engineering for us, we think is the best next step is a geotechnical study. And what that is just 35 or so different cores that a company takes up and down the road and writes back a report to us, and it tells us the condition of underneath Nebo Road, the subsurface and all that in different sections. And if we have that, then we can target certain areas of the road that we know need the most work. So that's the purpose of the study. And it's all in front of you. There's different options, and we're recommending going with option C, which is just the core. It's not going to be computer generated with heat maps or anything like that. It's just going to be core studies, which saves us a little bit of money, but tells us the exact same story that we need. So, any questions?
Is this for the full length?
It's for the full length of the road. We're not going to be able to, let's say, resurface the entire road at one time. So this would help us identify the parts that are in most need, which we already can identify by eye, a couple of them. But it will tell us exactly what the condition underneath the asphalt is so that we know what kind of work needs to be done. Some of it might require full depth reclamation, which is tearing the road out and redoing it. Some of it may just be resurfacing or minor work. And we plan on doing some patchwork and some jobs to get us over in the meantime, because it's still going to take us a while before we can do the entire road. But this will tell us how we can do it and how we should approach it in phases.
Michael, is there something that's triggering the need to continuously have to maintain that road?
That's what the study's going to show us, is underneath the subbase, what condition that it's in. It's very likely that it's washed away and there's nothing supporting the asphalt. So when it rains, it just kind of collapses.
Is
We
there
put in
any
a pothole
development?
And it collapses some more.
Are there any developments taking place in that
There
area?
is on the other end of the road on the county side. And we
On the-
have very little up the road, but on the
So-
county side,
okay.
past Ingalls and all that. there's
Problem
some
is, we
development.
resurfaced that road about 6 or 7 years ago. Normally, they last up to 20 years for that. There has been a huge increase on dump truck traffic, heavy equipment traffic, a lot of trucks going back and forth. In addition to the automobile traffic on that road has increased probably 60% over the last couple of years.
Do we know what increased that?
Subdivisions.
The new subdivisions, county subdivisions?
Subdivisions, and it's just way around the city for
Well,
heavy
obviously,
trucks.
yeah, you're right, Dallas, that's county, okay.
And this is another gift from 50 years ago.
Right. So, but either way, it's kind of hard for us to go out and just maintain it and keep maintaining it, and our repairs don't do anything. So we kind of come up with a more permanent solution.
When they're doing this study, are they going to be able to identify projected usage of the road, especially when Highway 92 construction starts, which is going to create an increase on the side roads?
Yeah, so it won't be the initial part of the study, but the engineers can take that information and make a better recommendation on, you might as well maybe spend a little more money, maybe widen the road a little bit, whatever the recommendation may be to make it sturdy for years to come.
Okay.
Just initially, it's just going to show us the condition, because right now we're guessing.
Michael, are our projects prioritized maybe by need, and how high on the list would you say this is?
The Nebo Road, I would say, is pretty high on the list as
Pretty high.
far as the roads go. We have some other smaller things, but this is a major road that's causing lots of issues. Constant complaints, potholes, phone calls, emails, you name it. It's pretty consistent.
Is this being proposed for the current fiscal or the next fiscal year?
This will be this year, it's coming out of, it's paid for out of SPOST funds, the street SPOST. We've already done the first round of, well, the first half of the first round of engineering. This is a supplement to that. The first round that we did, we engineered it, put it out to bid, and with the way that we said we needed the work to be done, we didn't have any bidders. And the reason why is because it's just more patchwork than anything else. So this way we know if we need to fix just this quarter mile or eighth mile and then go up the road and do another eighth mile, something along those lines, we'll know. And it's more beneficial to the contractors as well to come out, because it costs them a lot of money to come out there for small jobs. They're kind of losing money on that. So he's coming up with also a better job for that. But like I said, we can do some work on it in certain sections, which we plan on doing probably this year or leading into next year, that maybe to address one section of it that we know is in the worst condition. But long term, it's a long process over multiple years, I think.
Do you know how much it would cost to fix the entire road?
It depends on what's needed. We really don't. I'll just be totally guessing numbers right now, and I'm probably not even close to being accurate.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
resurfacing is totally different than digging it up and redoing the road from scratch. So it's a whole different process.
A lot of money.
And yeah, so if we did a full depth, again, totally throwing out there, maybe $1.5 million per quarter or third of a mile.
Wow.
So, and I don't think we need to do that. So that's why we hopefully this will show you only need to do it in these certain sections, and then you can do more minor repairs throughout the road. And then maybe not make it make it a 10-year repair either.
Is there any preventative measures that we can take? I remember Georgia Department of Transportation had the comprehensive plan, or what plan was that, the infrastructure, where you bring in the citizens and, they talk about which roads would be restricted from vehicles like these dump trucks. Is there anything we can do to prevent the further damage once we get past this phase?
Yeah, I just think we'll just have to have lots of conversations with lots of different people and see if we can come to some kind of agreement. That's really all I got right now
Yeah,
on that one.
just thinking, okay.
So, but another way around would be great.
Right.
Keep people off that road. But right now, that's people's way around the
That's
city
the
as
only
well.
way.
Any other questions? Thank you, Michael.
All right, thank you.
Okay, discuss the creation of a downtown development authority. Cindy?
All right, it's up. Way to go.
Oh, sorry.
All right. Way to go then. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, so much for letting me be here. My name is Cindy Itzen. I'm with the Georgia Municipal Association, and I am the Executive Director for Community and Economic Development, and also I run the Georgia Cities Foundation. We have a loan program, but we can talk about that later. So I have notes so I can stay on focus. I will say the group that was before me is going to be, they were a lot more exciting than what this presentation is going to be about. If you can, Melissa, hit that forward. Thank you. Uh-oh.
You spoke too soon.
I know. Okay, so a downtown development authority, I know you're gonna, y'all are possibly looking at doing this. I wanna say that, I've been to Hiram before, in 2018, when I came over with a team from the Georgia Department of Economic Development, and we were looking at your downtown, and you have a great downtown. So I think a downtown development authority would be something that would work. I think that it would really help the city, and once we go into some more details, I think you'll see where it could be a very big benefit for y'all to look at new development, because I know at some point you have that one main strip in town, historic fabric, but then also y'all have an opportunity for some new construction. So a purpose of a downtown development authority is provide that piece of being able to bring in a tool, and the downtown development authority is a tool that you can use to purchase property, lease, finance, sell any project, and also move money and actually look at contracts that the city can't do, and we'll go into that just a little bit more. But what we want to see is a redevelopment of your downtown area, and I know y'all all want to see that, and also economic development with providing jobs in your community. All right, so one thing we have to go over, if we can hit the next button. And I will say, I will go ahead and say, City Attorney, I don't know your name, but I'm going to say when you're looking to do anything with the Downtown Development Authority, you always have to say, attorney, city attorney, please review all of the ordinances and bylaws and DDA law to make sure that it meets the qualifications, because you'll have to make sure that you're looking at that. We do have, and we'll get to that in a moment, but we're looking at, you have to have 7 voting members to participate on the board, and those have to be detailed. I will go ahead and tell you that Clifford McGrady just said that he will serve on the board. We become friends down there. I will say that the board has to consist, they have to meet 2 of the requirements: tax-paying residents, own and live at property within the city limits, or have an economic interest in redevelopment and revitalization of the downtown area. And let me give you an example. So if you have a restaurant owner in downtown and they have a vested interest, but the owner says, I don't want to serve on the board, but their manager does, then that manager could serve on the board, okay, for that. And then you have 3 remaining members and of the 7, and 1 can be an elected official. I will say that works great in a lot of our communities where a local, when a city council member serves, because then they can bring back what the DDA is talking about back to the council. So that could be either a council member or a mayor. And then 1 can be a downtown business owner who lives outside of the county but must be a Georgia resident. And then all 3 could be tax-paying residents who do not own a business or property in the downtown development area. All 3 could be tax-paying residents of the county that own or operate a business in downtown development area. Sorry, this is so boring, but it is very tedious, and we have to follow the rules. Also, with the 7 voting board members, they have to be appointed by council. So you can't do it in a work session, you have to do it in a city council meeting. They have to serve 4-year terms, and the state law requires that they have to be staggered. So when you're looking at the bylaws, they have to be staggered to meet that. The other thing, and I know you're gonna say, Cindy, you bringing this up, it's gonna, help you from an 8-hour training perspective. But they have to, when they get on board, and if you're setting up it new, all 7 members would have to go through an 8-hour training. Now, we'll say in the law, it doesn't specify the type of training, but I will say, and this is not, I'm not doing a plug for us, but GMA does offer with Carl Vinson Institute the 8-hour training, and we will have one at convention on that Saturday in Savannah. That does cost some money. But we also have the Georgia Downtown Association conference that's going to be in Rome, and that would be Monday, August the 17th. And also during that time, it would be the Georgia Downtown Association conference. And we actually, out of my office, we run the Georgia Downtown Association and manage that for them. So they have to have the 8 hours training within that year that they are, nominated to the board to be a member. And so the other thing that I want to let you know is that also Department of Community Affairs offers training, and you can do that online. Like I said, in the state law, it doesn't say exactly how it has to be done, but you just have to prove that you've done 8 hours in Downtown Development Authority training. You can make it simple. You can do it online. You can come to one of the trainings, but you do have to show that to the Department of Community Affairs that you did participate in that. Okay, if we can go back to the boundary.
Getting there.
It's okay. I like it. You're like,
Instead of
come on,
one at a
speed it
time,
up.
it's
This
like
is boring.
ready to go.
So just a little
I'm
further.
getting there.
Okay, here we are. Oh, okay. So one thing you have to look at is that you have to identify a boundaried area for what the DDA will work on. And usually that is the central business district. We have had cities that they actually have done the whole city limits, but you have to look at it by what the state statute says, the geographical area within the municipal corporation, which in the judgment of the governing body constitutes the central business district. Now, what I would recommend is that I know that y'all will have to look at expanding your downtown a little bit, so you need to think about that when you're probably looking at what that boundaried area would look like. And that's just a recommendation, just to think about that for the future. Because sometimes if you do the whole city limits, then you can't focus on the area that you're wanting to use the Downtown Development Authority. And then if you have the Development Authority, which would be kind of, they can do the whole county, then you have them looking at certain areas. Okay, if we can hit it? Okay, one thing you have to do is you have to set up a resolution. I'm going to show that to you, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you all this information. You have the PowerPoint, but I will send you everything that gets you kind of up and started. But you have to set a resolution saying that y'all declare the need for a Downtown Development Authority, and then it has to be brought to the City Council. It has to include the map. It has to include the boundary area, which I was speaking to, and it has to have the list of the board members, and you can see here the board for the Downtown Development Authority to be listed there, and their staggered years on board for 4 years. That just gives you kind of, if you can go forward just a little bit, then you can click through it pretty quickly.
Gotta be a sweet.
This PowerPoint does not like us for me today, I don't think. All right. So if we can get to financing capability, go to the next one. And you got one more after that.
I think we need Jeopardy music.
I know. Do you do? Okay. So the financing capabilities of the DDA, Downtown Development Authority, are one of the things that makes this a lucrative tool for downtown development. DDAs are allowed to issue revenue bonds, not obligation bonds, okay? Revenue bonds are sold on the market where a revenue stream has been identified to repay the bond. These bonds are generally tax-exempt bonds. For example, if a DDA wanted to undertake a downtown project and they have revenue stream to back that from the DDA's budget, let's say that they have rent for properties that they already own. City could say properties that they own, they could go ahead and turn those over to the DDA. Tax funds pledged to their organization, they can go out and issue a bond and back that bond through their revenue streams that they have in place. DDAs cannot, by law, do general obligation bonds, okay? And then, the one thing with DDA can receive dedicated tax revenues from the city from rental car tax, non-restricted hotel motel tax, special tax districts, and for y'all, I don't know if y'all probably have that set up, but a business improvement district where the property owners tax themselves to do certain things within their downtown. I'm sure y'all probably don't have that. I don't think y'all did at the time when I was here, but that could have changed. I didn't see that. Or tax allocation districts or community improvement districts. So that's where you would, the property owners would tax themselves to do special things. DDA can do an intergovernmental agreement backed loan, and that's an intergovernmental agreement can approve a revenue stream, for instance, where a DDA is receiving dedicated tax revenues from rental car tax and the non-restricted hotel motel tax, special tax districts, or funds from the general appropriations from the city council. That revenue stream can be shown through an intergovernmental agreement between the city and that DDA that they can use to back that loan taken by the DDA, okay? A DDA can undertake for-profit activities. State law allows DDAs to do anything that a public and private sector corporation or business entity can do as long as it isn't in conflict with the general statute. All right, you can click it. All right, so contractual rights. There are some contractual rights that a DDA has. A DDA, Downtown Development Authority, can contract with the government, any government entity for a maximum of 50 years through an intergovernmental agreement with a city, a county, development authority, or a state agency. a 50-year contract between the Downtown Development Authority with the city, a 50-year contract between the DDA with county. As you can see, you can have 50-year contracts, okay? One of the things that is very significant about this is that the city governments can only contract with the private sector based on the longest remaining term of the council member. So, if you have a city council member just elected in November, and their term starts in January, and it's a 4-year term, so the longest term contract that the city can contract with the private sector is only 4 years. A DDA can contract with the private sector for up to 50 years. So that is a distinct difference between a DDA and the city council. So if the city council wants to do business with private sector, they are limited in that business by a 4-year contract, but they can enter into that IGA with a DDA and with an IGA for 50 years with a private developer versus a 4-year contract can make a difference if you want to continue to help with that business development in your community. So it is a benefit. They do stand alone, but they are appointed by the city, okay? I will let you know that at one point they did establish a law that if you wanted to disband, because sometimes council members come on and they get mad sometimes with what maybe the board and where they're going with the DDA. If the DDA has a checking account, they can't dissolve the DDA. So just want y'all to think about those things, just to prepare yourself. Not saying that would happen because y'all appoint the DDA, okay? I will say, one thing I didn't mention, but the DDA, once they get going, they may see members that they may want to recommend to city council as possible folks to serve. Doesn't mean that you have to take their recommendation, but it does allow you to have an opportunity to see that, okay? And if we can, click it to the next one. We're getting close, y'all, I promise. Okay, so liability, traditionally, but not always, a DDA board can be covered by the city's liability policy and their capacity as a board members. For instance, if the board is out working on behalf of the DDA, then they would be covered since the city appoints that board. To make sure they are covered, we would need to sit down, y'all would need to sit down with the city manager, risk manager, and see what the coverage is for the DDA board. Because a lot of people get nervous, they don't want to serve on the board if they're going to get sued. Totally understand that, so that's an opportunity if you're looking at bringing on some good members. Just make sure that y'all have already talked that through, just to make sure if it's something that they would not get sued, on that. A state can't give a grant or loan to the private business, but a DDA is eligible to apply for and receive state loans and grants through an intergovernmental agreement. You're going to hear that. I know it's getting boring, and I'm sorry. But the DDA can become a conduit for getting loans, getting funds to private business to get a project done. City can't, but the DDA can and be able to give money directly to a private individual for doing projects within your downtown. Let's say if you're going to build a new building, if you're going to renovate a building, you can be a part of, the DDA can be a part of that deal going forward. The state cannot give money. Now, if y'all have a Main Street, I don't think y'all do have a Main Street program, but you cannot give it to a Main Street program because they do not exist in a state statute. So let's say to you, hey, we don't want to do a DDA, but we're going to do Main Street. Main Street can't do any of this, okay? They can't because they're not in the state statute. Main Street can do some really great things and use the 4-point approach, but they cannot get into these kind of agreements because they're not listed in the state statute. Okay, next one. We're getting close, y'all. Fiduciary responsibilities and reporting. There are some responsibilities and reporting requirements for a DDA like all governments are expected to do. The DDA has to be audited annually. As I mentioned with all governments, DDAs have to complete an annual report that has to go on DCA. They can do it online, but they have to do that annually and to make sure that they're in compliance. Also, if they do not turn that in, it could cause an issue if they don't have all their reporting in place for bond financing. So that could put, I know this is stuff down the road, but I'm just trying to give you a heads up on a lot of these things. And then, of course, with training, you get it from an attorney who knows this backwards and forwards. But also, you have to register annually with DCA, and if you have new members, and also if they've done their 8 hours of training. You just have to continue to do that. So we have to have our great partnership with Department of Community Affairs, which we all love them because they do provide us with funding. Next. Okay, staffing and open records. Let's go ahead and get scared. Y'all already know about this as city council, but DDAs aren't required by state law to have a staff person in place. So in Main Street, you do, but in DDA, you don't have to have a staff person. I would recommend in the future that you do have a staff person to make sure activities are getting done, but it's not required by law. DDAs are required to observe both open meetings and open records. Any business that the DDA is doing has to allow the public to attend. And if they are talking through real estate, they can have a closed meeting, just like the council. Okay? So next. And this is just an example of the bylaws document, and I'll get that to you and just going through that. I know you can't see it, but just want to show you that we do have examples that you can have so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's what's so beautiful about this. You do not have to reinvent the wheel, and we can, walk you through each step along the way. Keep going. Okay, next. Okay, and if y'all do set up your first meeting, we have agendas for that. Just so you know, you have to provide an agenda and a summary of minutes for each meeting. Now, this would be done by the board, but I just want council to know, they have to make sure they're following through on all those regulations. Okay, next. Okay, and that's just the agenda. Now, I want to give you just a quick example, and then I'll be finished. If you can just click that next one. Okay, so this is a project in Woodstock, and the city owned the depot, okay? But the railroad owned the land where the depot was located on. The city was using the depot for a meeting space for public use, and it really wasn't being utilized. The railroad leased the land to the city for $1, okay? There was an interested developer because a lot of things were happening up in Woodstock at the time when they were doing a lot of redevelopment. They had a housing developer come in, and things were just really, rocking and rolling. So an interested developer came to the city and said they wanted to open up a restaurant in the depot. They also wanted to do some other development around. How many of y'all been to Woodstock? Okay, so that downtown restaurant's right there in the depot, and then they have some development. That was that developer. And what they did was the developer did some estimated costs, found out it was going to be $300,000 to do that. So they said, hey, instead of the city giving us a 4-year agreement lease, we need to work through the DDA so we can get a little longer lease because we can't make it profitable. So you can go ahead and click it to the next one. So they had some contractual issues. So this is where the DDA really became important for this process. So to give the developer a longer lease, the city did a quick claim deed to the DDA to deed the depot over to the DDA. The Downtown Development Authority entered into a different land lease with the railroad because the railroad said, heck, you're making more money since it's not public, now it's private. We're going to charge you a little bit more, okay? So they went into which we all know that happens, but they went into that lease with the railroad for the land. Then the DDA went into the developer for them to use the actual, the actual depot, and so they were able to do that lease with the developer. Then the developer subleased. I know this is getting crazy. Subleased with the restaurant that's in the depot, okay? And then what we started seeing that they had shared revenues. So the shared revenues was when the DDA worked with the developer, they said, you're gonna have to pay the railroad. So they did. So that money, and the railroad made more money because it wasn't for public use, it was for private use. So they made money, and it was a longer lease. They did it for 20 plus years. So then the owner got money from the restaurant, so it paid off their amount. And then the city was getting licensing fees and taxes of sale and food spirits that went back into your pockets, into the budget, to do other things throughout the city. So the DDA did not make any money off this deal, but was able to make sure that they got the contract they needed. End of story. That's the end of my presentation, but I really want to thank you. But it's just one of those examples that it was only able to be done because the DDA was able to do the longer contractual agreement. And that makes it I think, a very important tool for you. It can also, own property, run property, sell property, provide funding to private developers where city can't do that. So that having someone from the mayor or the city council to serve on that DDA, I think would be very important, especially for starting out, to make sure that your mission, your strategies are going to follow the same steps. So thank you so much for being here, but I will continue to work with you. I work for GMA, we work for you, and thank you so much for letting me be here. If you have any questions, let me know.
Cindy, thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Melissa.
So one of my questions, the application process, how do some other cities go about the application process? I know we appoint them. However, is there an application you can loan us? You have a template? What is that like?
All you have to do is do the, oh my gosh, excuse me. Why can I not remember it? Excuse me. You have to do the resolution and start it, but you also have the list of the 7 board members. So you have to go ahead and appoint them based on the rules that I've laid out for you, which are very detailed, but that's what the state statute says. You have to follow that because let's say they get into a deal and you have a board member that's not following the law, state law, then, it could, cause an issue with that project because it was not, people can sue for those reasons if things are not done correctly. So all you have to do is do the resolution, but first you need to identify who would be some potential folks that would need to serve on that DDA board, and I'm sure you already have some ideas about who that would be. But it's not an application process, it's just every city under the statute of 1981 are allowed to set up a DDA. You don't have to apply for an application. All you have to do is set up that resolution, and we have an example for that. Decide who your members, make sure they meet that qualification, and they get trained, and they serve 4-year terms, and those are the things that would have to be done. So every city can set that up. Now, there are constitutional authorities, but we're not going to get into all that, but a majority of those DDAs were set up in 1981 under the state statute for that.
Okay, the reason why I asked was we post our agendas on our Facebook platforms, on our social media platforms, and it has garnished some interest in the people that follow our page. Not sure what criteria, so there's been interest shown about serving on a DDA.
Okay, perfect.
And that's why I wanted to know if there was a template of so we can make sure the criteria is being met for those who are showing interest.
Yes, I can send you all of that because I have a spreadsheet. I didn't want to show that today, but I have a spreadsheet so you'll know. And then also we have forms that you can use where you can let different folks that are interested fill that out.
Right.
And then if you want to, we can look it over just to see if they would meet the qualifications.
Right.
So that way you're covered.
Okay.
And then also we have Rushi Patel is our attorney at GMA, and he'd look over it for you so you don't have to even worry about it. But you just have to meet those qualifications. But I think a lot of people that show interest, you want to make sure that they meet those qualifications, but that the council feels that they would represent the DDA well, for serving.
Thank you.
You want to make sure that you get the right people.
Okay.
Because you're setting the stage, but no application. Every city can start a DDA, and so I think it's something for y'all to consider, making sure you get the right people on there.
Right.
And then when you reappoint, just make sure I do have that form, I'll send you everything that we have.
Awesome.
And then you can have them fill that out to make sure that they have the qualifications that they need, but also that they meet the qualifications of the state law.
Okay, and training would be at the expense of the city, correct?
Yeah, it would be expense of the city.
Okay.
These are non-compensated positions, correct?
It is non-compensated. Now, let's say that you get someone that's a potential, it could have a conflict, it's just like council, you do not vote for those particular items. So you can refrain from yourself, so people can still do business, still own properties, but they just can't vote. Of course, they have to, recuse themselves.
Awesome.
And the attorney would be, I'm sure you'll be glad to help with that as well, so. But we can do that,
like, yes.
with the basics of what we, that we have with our, with DDA law, so.
Great, thank you, Cindy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you,
Thank
Council.
you.
Discuss the FY 2027 Hiram budget and millage rate. Chief, you want to do that?
Okay. Sorry, we did not mean for tonight to be all PowerPoints all night, death by PowerPoint events, but it's between you and me. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so you asked us to look at an exploratory issue of what a millage rate, why would there be a rationale for a millage rate? And as you can see, we talk about having financial sustainability. Let's go to the next one, please. So our historical context, if you look between 1976 and 2026, there was an agreement made with the former mayor that if we had alcohol sales by the drink, there would never be a property tax in Hiram. Well, 30 years ago, that's probably a really good idea. Now, it is not sustainable. So we've gone for over 50 years, as you can see from the graphic up there, without a property tax in the city of Hiram. And we have lived and sustained the city on basically a sales tax revenue and some other revenue sources. But with COVID, we saw an increase in costs. I think all of us can remember the days before COVID, how cheap things were, how easy it was to get them, and then after COVID, our costs went up. And the problem is our dependence on what we were using as sales revenue is starting to slip for a number of reasons, one being the fact that most people are not using box stores anymore with the advent of online shopping and home delivery, to the fact that even Walmart now is dropping stuff in your backyard. They'll just fly by. They don't even stop. We're seeing that the box stores are getting less visits, and consequently, our sales tax revenue is starting to decrease slightly as we look at that, even though we have over 800 businesses within the city. Our next slide, please. So when we look at the city's revenue sources, our major revenue source is about 1.3 million, which we get from the local option sales tax. And you'll understand that a little deeper in just a moment. But our occupational tax only brings in about $600,000 a year. And our finance fees, what we get from utility companies and other places, brings in about another $500,000. Although listed as revenue, it is not revenue. We have municipal fines and fees. We keep a percentage of traffic citation fines. The state has a limit that we cannot exceed 30% of the police budget on fine collection. So we have never gotten anywhere close to that. As a matter of fact, checking it last week, we were at less than 2% of the police budget on fines and forfeitures because we're not going to tax people through citation. But then all of that adds up to our total revenue for the city. Our local option sales tax is that 1%, that extra penny that you pay when you buy anything in a store or order online nowadays and comes here, and that is divided between the participating jurisdictions of Paulding, Dallas, and Hiram. Hiram generates 37%, okay, keep that in mind, 37% of the sales tax that is collected within the county. But Hiram only receives 4% in return. Paulding takes 85% of that, Dallas takes 11% of it, and because of population, we receive only 4%. Next slide, please. Our legislative risks have increased, as we all know from this last legislative session under the dome, where there was a number of bills that came up. Senate Bill 33, which was one of the ones that we had been tracking, is the new L host. It is a replacement for Lost. And basically what it says is the cities who do not have a property tax, who do not have a millage rate established, will no longer be eligible to share an L host. L-Host is replacing sales tax, which means the city will be losing $1.3 million in revenue if we don't make some replacement and then find another funding source. So we're having to explore the idea of what a millage rate would be. If you'll give me the next slide, please. So that you can see where the division occurs, this is the special sales tax that is collected, that 1 cent. Now understand that SPLOST, there's some misunderstanding with SPLOST, as you've heard during this last few months with budgets and things like that. SPLOST can only be spent on a couple of things. First is capital outlay, which means vehicles or equipment. As a matter of fact, all of the police vehicles that you see out in this yard or used within the city are purchased through SPLOST funding. And then capital outlay projects such as roadway. And as you heard tonight, $1.3 million per third of a mile, or a little over $1 million per third of a mile. It's not going to get us far with the SPLOST that we have. But stormwater, parks, and public safety in general. And even inside public safety, there are many limitations. Next slide, please. So what we're seeing, not only us, but every city, every municipal government, county government in the state is seeing, is increasing operational costs. And I'm sorry, go back 1 second for, yeah, that's fine. I'm sorry, go on. Thank you. You're ahead of me. What we're seeing is increasing operational costs. What's happened after COVID is we saw people's salaries go up. No longer were people wanting or willing to work for what was at that point around $12 to $14 an hour. Now we're starting to see people at $16 to $19 an hour, and we're hearing that some people are projecting that we're going to see $20 to $30 an hour for what we used to consider minimum wage jobs. Okay. Our rising operational costs. I mean, everything has gone up since COVID because of the fact of moving stuff. Nothing is produced in the United States anymore. All of the equipment that you see on our cars, all of that steel is manufactured overseas. Those lights are manufactured overseas. It all has to be shipped, and as you've been paying attention to the news lately, it all comes through one area that is being contested right now. So it's being slowed down and it is becoming more and more expensive as we go along. But what's the other issue that's happening is our rising demand. More population transiting the city of Hiram. Our population isn't growing as far as residents, but our population for visitors is growing. Our daytime population is about 65,000 people. And then somewhere around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, when they finally finish whatever it is they're doing and they go home, we're left with our permanent population, which is a little over 5,022 people. But we continue to see this increase of 1.8, 1.9 million cars a month transiting. Next, please. When we look and isolate just public safety, our cost of a patrol car to completely outfit it has gone from $60,000 to $100,000 previous to COVID. And at one point, as the chief and I will tell you, we had 4 cars that sat at a vendor for a year, 1 year, waiting for parts to come in. To the point that we were going to buy a birthday cake and go up there and celebrate those cars' birthdays, sitting in the lot waiting to be outfitted. But what's starting to happen with us now is volatile fuel costs. You're seeing fuel costs go up and down based on what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz. And then you're seeing higher costs for anything as far as our long-term goals for increased maintenance costs, because one of the things that happens is people say, well, keep your cars longer. Well, the problem with keeping the cars longer is then you start running into maintenance costs and service issues, which makes it untenable for that vehicle to be out there. Plus, it's also a liability issue for us, that if we keep the car on the street too long, or we keep the public safety or public works equipment out there too long, it's going to break down. So what we what we have to look at is some predictable mechanism, because right now everything's based on SPLOST, and SPLOST is cyclical throughout the year. We can show you based on the traffic where our sales tax is going to look like from month to month. And we're coming up to a point in where it may right now, you're going to see SPLOST drop in June. And then it'll start to rise slightly in July, and then in August it'll cap out. And the reason it does is because people go on vacation, they're not spending as much, they're spending money on entertainment and not on things in a brick and mortar store anymore. So what we need is some reputable way, if we can go on to the next slide, please, and then on to the next one. So when we talk about financial stability, the city has to be able to have a revenue stream, a source that comes in that we can predict with some regularity. And again, we talk about all of these things that have contributed to this increasing costs, which are outpacing our revenues. Again, we've seen cars go from $60,000 to $100,000. They're going to go up again this year. We've seen our fuel costs continue to increase. So what we have to do is start to align or think of a revenue source such as a millage rate that would take us to a point where we can guarantee that at a certain point of the year, there is an income stream that we can base our budgets off of, versus what we're doing now, which is projecting a budget and hoping that our revenue stream meets that budget, and then having to adjust throughout the year based upon revenue intake. So next slide. So the reason I'm up here doing this is they wanted somebody with a gun to talk about taxes. So, but here's the good news. Homestead exemption, and if you're not familiar with it, it's the next slide, please. It's
Sure.
it's in between those. There you go, homestead exemption. Okay, so for all of you that are homeowners, this is something I hope that you've already applied for. If not, it's something you need to apply for. Melissa, were we able to get the QR code outside?
That was for the March 24th meeting, and Jody told me to take that out of this one.
Okay, all right.
But
If
they
you
are
haven't
online.
done it, I would go to the county tax assessor's office and file your homestead exemption. So I'll give you a reason why. It's a discount on your property tax for a house that you live in. Now, you're not granted that for a house that you own that you're using for other purposes. So if you have a house that you're renting out as an Airbnb, that's revenue source. You're going to be taxed fully on that one. So this reduces the assessed taxable amount. So be sure you make sure you file your assessment. Now, the one good thing about Hiram, in his anticipation of this 7 years ago, the city passed its own homestead exemptions, which are higher than what the county allows and are supplemental to them if you're a resident of the city of Hiram. So for example, the county gives you $40,000, we are going to give you another $40,000 of homestead exemption. If you're over the age of 65, you get another $15,000 on top of the $40,000 that is taken for the multiplication of your tax need. And then if you're over the age of 70, probably the most vulnerable group out there that are living off of Social Security, you have no millage tax assigned to your property at all. So it protects that vulnerable group of people. Let's do the next slide, please. So for example, and it's hard to see, hard for me to see from here. So if you start off with a $200,000 house, this is fair market value. This is what the county says your house is, because we have to look at the county's tax digest. And they say you have a $200,000 house, and they come to us, and you live in the county, they're going to give you about 40% off of it, or about 40,000 off of that. So you're going to pay what's left. But then if you live in Hiram, we're going to give you an additional. And then if you're 65 or you're 75, you get additional. Anything over 75, you're not paying at all. At 65, you're getting another 40 and another 15,000 on top of that. So people who have reached that point in their life where they're probably living off Social Security or some other fixed income, the whole idea is not to continue to penalize these people. But what it does is it gives us a fair representation. And when we look at Hiram, as Jody did when we looked at this through the Tax Digest, Hiram already grants over $63 million in tax exemption within the city, between the businesses and the houses that are in here. So it's a pretty significant saving for the population. So that's where we're at. This is just an informative thing. There's no actual details to it. The millage rate would be, if there is going to be further discussion, something that would have to happen after council action, after a series of public meetings where the council would have, where the public would have their right to talk with the council directly about what they think their needs are within the city. And the last slide, please. And I apologize, I'm a stand-in for tonight, but I want to thank you for your attention and for anything that you have for questions. I would ask that you direct those to the council, please. Sir.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, sir.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Discuss the amendment to special event ordinance. Melissa?
You all have in your packet Mariana's presentation, as well as my input that I sent in the email when I forwarded it to you. So have a way at your discussion.
I'll support the effort of Mariana. So if we need to discuss the rates of what she's requesting, I think our citizens deserve some more community projects, especially considering the fact that we are not absorbing the cost and is bringing a value to our city. So I support it, what needs to be done.
So you support the ordinance amendments, taking away the business license requirement and other things
No.
that she was requesting?
No,
Because
so
that's
the
what she's
business
asking.
requirement,
Okay.
I think we still have to have a business requirement. We still have to have some type of protocol standard. But the waiving of the fee for events that don't cost our citizens any money, I think we should consider working on that.
So I don't understand that she's trying to request a waiving of the special event permit fee. She's requesting that the requirements in our special event ordinance of the different vendors to go away, specifically the business license requirement for the vendors. They're required to have a business license as proof that they have their business license paid in a jurisdiction in Georgia. She's requesting that that be removed. Correct, Mariana?
No, what I'm asking is a temporary permit when it comes to events like this, that people pay $25 to $50 to say, okay, I want to have a special permit to come to this event to sell my body sprays, my candles, my vintage clothing. Again, I've been in Atlanta, and there's a ton of that, and I've paid anywhere from $127 for an event, and the lowest I have paid is $20.
Right, but you're saying that in lieu of requiring a copy of their business license.
Correct, just
Okay.
a temporary permit saying you can sell in the city of Hiram for this specific event. And once that event is done, that permit expires. So if the event starts at 11 and ends at 6, that's it. If there's a next event 3 to 4 months down the line, you have to re-sign up with the city of Hiram through your portal for that next event. And that's how you're gonna be generating money, which you guys can decide to add on to Red, White, and Blue, the Christmas Festival, or again, make more events like that available for everybody.
Question for the city attorney. Would that open the city up to any liability for foregoings of the normal licensing process?
Typically, there's not going to be liability on a business license type situation because a business license is really an occupation tax. All right, so it's not truly a license or a permit. It's a revenue generating source. If it were a different kind of license, then yes, but not so much on that side. But I say that with a limited understanding of what her proposal is.
Okay. So my follow-up question, this would be for the city clerk. What is the difference in the fee from the license to the temporary permit?
Well, that would be you to determine the permit fee. She's put in a suggestion, I believe, $25 to $35 per event.
Yes.
So the minimum occupation tax that the city of Hiram charges is $125. So that was part of my feedback. If you're charging that amount per event, they'll get to that 125 pretty quickly.
Gotcha.
And then Mariana just said she's attended an event where she paid $127 vendor fee. So that's more than our occupation tax. And our occupation tax certificate is good for a calendar year. Now, we honor anyone's occupation tax certificate where they're located. We don't require it from the city of Hiram. So if they're located in Powder Springs, or if they're located in Roswell, they show us a copy, or show Mariana, and she puts it in her application, a copy of their business license from where they're located. We don't make them buy one here because they're here temporarily. Now, if they're located here, absolutely, we will.
And so under this proposal, let's say, for example, the vendor was not located within the city limits, the proposal would dictate that they would pay that fee to the city, irrespective of whether they're licensed in another jurisdiction.
Correct. And also in my feedback, when the council instituted this ordinance, it was to decrease paperwork, decrease the red tape that we were hearing, because people were wanting to do these events. Because before these events, each individual had to get their own permit. So that meant application and monies. And that was, I think, around $50 to $100 a piece. And it was just for that event. So this was made to bring that all together, and also, get the different department feedback as well, so that we know the effects on public works, things like that. And then the other piece of what I'm hearing is, no matter who the producer of the event is, the vendor money is coming to us. That's typically something the producer would collect, is, if you want to be part of my event, you're going to pay me to be part of the event. And then she handles them, and that money's kind of like for OFBA, that could go into their coffers. And then we're just handling that special event permit itself, and that's it.
Understood.
Can I say something? So the $127 event that I paid for was our agave, which they guarantee an influx of people. We're talking about more than, 20,000 people on that event in Atlanta. That's the only reason why I've paid that much, because it guarantees me that income back. But starting in Hiram, it's gonna take time to get the wheels going. But the more people we have participating, the more that the community has, we can gain traction, and like anything else, you charge a little bit more each time. I will tell you that what I'm asking for is just a temporary Vendors Day fee for events, that we can generate income for more events to come. And I'm not asking to make the money. That was the point of asking you guys to take that payment, so that money does go into an account, so we can continue doing events like this. Or even donating the money to schools, or like the ladies program that was in this share for the children. I mean, that money can go to anything. I honestly don't want to make the money. I just want to see the community happy.
I'm still confused.
And that's on God.
Do we need to make a change to the ordinance? We could always change the ordinance, but can this be like a trial basis to kind of see how it goes for the one event, or there has to be a change to the ordinance? Or is that up to the council?
Right now, you would need a change to the ordinance.
Okay.
You have an ordinance, you have a city law that's in effect. And if there's going to be a variation from that, then you have to amend the ordinance.
Okay.
It is frankly something that, my legal opinion, needs to be continued to be thought out and analyzed before pulling a trigger on it, to make sure that there is a meeting of the minds as to what the effect will be. Sometimes people come with ideas, and you analyze it, and you might decide this is not really what the city wants. Other times they'll come with an idea and say, hey, we think that'll be good for the city. But don't let, my advice to my clients is always, don't let a deadline become your emergency. All right, time is generally on your side when deciding on how to do things. And it takes a little time, particularly on the government side.
Do you have any other questions, or did y'all understand my input?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we're not voting on this now, this is just a.
Discussion.
Right, discussion.
Well, we would need to know if you're wanting to discuss it again, if you're wanting to move forward as is, or you,
I think we should wait and discuss it at the next work session.
Yes.
next work session? Okay. And for Mariana, you know, Tiffany and I had conversed about it, and she asked to add it to the next work session. And then I mentioned it because of her upcoming event, thinking if you were gonna change it, why make her wait? So that is why, Councilmember Carroll asked for it to be on tonight's agenda. I mean, still, the next one is still before her event, but.
Okay, do we have a consent agenda, Melissa?
Well, let's see. Item number 3, I put as a new business, just because they are Board of Ethics appointments. Number 4, I have as consent, but then the other 3, number 5 is next work session. Number 6, I presume is a continued discussion, whatever your next.
Correct.
Okay. Number 7, next work session. So really, I would put them all on new business, since there's only one consent item. Doesn't make sense.
Okay. Okay, Chief,
Yes, sir.
want to
Yes, sir.
talk about your,
As you know, the city of Hiram was certified as a state agency about 6 years ago, 7 years ago. As of today, we're one of the 14% of agencies that have now passed their 3rd certification. So 22% passed their 2nd, only 14 passed their 3rd, and that's by the efforts of the 30-plus people who work at the agency who have done a phenomenal job to maintain the standards that are required by the state of Georgia and nationally. So I commend them and wanted to provide that good news to you.
thank you, Chief, appreciate it. Okay, May the 5th be the next regular session, right, same time, same station. Tiffany, you have anything?
Do not.
Melissa?
I do. Of course, did you say, of course you do? I heard you under your breath. I knew it anyway. So yeah, I have a couple of announcements that I would like to share with you all. The first is this Saturday, McKenna Farms is having their annual fundraiser. McKenna Farms is a therapy service, it's a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing therapeutic programs and resources, supporting children and young adults with special needs in their families. That will be, so it's Derby Day, May 2nd. You can check out their website for more information. And then we have our very own, one of our very own businesses called Olive Tree. They are having a ribbon cutting.
Health and wellness.
I'm sorry?
Adding on to Olive Tree, so they're not like Olive Tree.
I'm sorry, yeah, let me make that distinction. Okay, so there's a ribbon cutting scheduled for May 4th at 12:30 here in the beautiful city of Hiram, celebrating Olive Tree Therapy and Wellness, one of our very own businesses, so please support. This is hosted by the Chamber of Commerce. And on May 5th, our very own Matt Winfrey, Sergeant Matt Winfrey, is going to be recognized as the Officer of the Year. This is hosted by the Rotary Club. This is on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. You should remember that. At the Dallas Civic Center, he has provided 15 years of service. Please support him. And then again, support your local heroes, the unicorns that teach your children. It is Teacher Appreciation Week for Hiram Hornets, our school here. I was hoping to say this when the parents were here. So please show your appreciation to those educators if you still have children or grandchildren. Thank you. No, you could do something. You could take one on. I already made mine. You can make some.
I don't have anything. Derek?
I have 2 things. One, there is a annual fish fry by the Hiram Rosenwald Museum this coming Saturday, I believe, at 11 a.m. So please come out and support. Also, I wanted to, he's not here, but I wanted to recognize the city manager, Jody, for his 20th year anniversary with the city.
I'm so sorry, I forgot to, I'm sorry, Mayor, I know you're like, come on, Melissa. I want to thank the East Paulding High School Civics Group, the journalism group. They followed up with us, with the city of Hiram today, asking if we could speak on the effects, the impact of SB 33, which we successfully killed the bill with the support of our community. I want to thank our chief for being part of that interview process. I want to thank our clerk, Melissa Chosewood, for being there and being interviewed. Our HR director, Kathy Stansel, thank you for being there, and Jeanette was also in attendance. Thank those 2 students and the teacher, Joseph Flout. So we will formally recognize those efforts from that teacher, providing authentic learning for our students, and hopefully we'll get that on the calendar for our next work session. Hope to be.
All right. I have a motion on item number 8.
I make a motion to enter an executive session to discuss personnel.
I'll second. All in favor? We will be adjourning after the executive session. Melissa?